like, what's your gut telling you? What would be like if you had to make an educated guess, what would you go for? And it's usually right. And then if they're still saying it, I usually like ask them to phone a friend. And that person will usually step up, and then I know you're supposed to then go back to that person.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's the answer.
Yeah. Maybe not doing that much. Yeah. I have. Yeah, maybe that.
Right, okay, we'll just get started. Hands up if you feel like you've got one strategy to go to. If someone says don't know, hands up if you right now what you know. Has anyone got a strategy? I'm not going to ask you to share, but who's got one under harmony they can pull out? Has anyone not got one? Anyone just gone, I got asked this recently and I got stumped by it, like I don't know where to go. So if you've got 0 or 1 or 2, hopefully you can walk away at the end. If I ask you the same question, you kind of know. On Monday, if someone says don't know, you can try and tease something out of them. The second part is embracing uncertainty, or basically thanking pupils for not knowing. Like yesterday, people said something in the class or drawing on the table, which I'll show in a second, and it was wrong. And I said thank you for showing it's wrong, because I never knew they don't know that. I never knew that's a misconception for them until I actually seen it written down. And then we used that moment to learn as a full class, because if one person doesn't know it, there'll be others in the class who don't know it. This was last times and last week, so in case you just think that I just lead this and don't actually put any of this in practice, let me know, show you what I've been doing. So it was about making everyone think, activating prior knowledge, what do they know from before, and a new block after October holidays. Involve all students, use narrative of conflict and embed thinking goals. So this was the question that we've seen that I was showing you how I would tackle. So I would do a retrieval practice at the start so they know the key components, talk about it, I'd give models, and this is what we were doing yesterday. Up in Plaza 4, first time I've not actually said that I don't like the space, up next to art, actually used it properly. So the kids had to put 2 answers, blend them together. To get there, first of all, with to activate prior knowledge, they had to put the answers that were standalone, so there's 2 single answers that blended together. So what we actually done was on their mini whiteboards, here and here, each person in the group wrote an answer. Then on the big tables, they got the big question, which was there, and then married them together. This was all done from activating prior knowledge, building up that schema, making the connections, and then it arrives at an A-level question. You can see so today, no opt-out is what's something, because what you don't want in your class is I ask a question, give some wait time, Ashley what's the answer, don't know, right, great, right, someone else tell me. That will set a tone and a culture in your class. If I get asked, I don't know, I'll just, or even I do know, just say don't know, because I'll just go, right, who's next? And they'll take the spotlight right off me. This is keeping the spotlight firmly on kids and saying, right, you're giving me an answer, or you're listening to an answer and you're feeding it. Right? So build that culture. I better be listening, and I'm not getting out of this. It's in Teach Like a Champion. Again, one of the best books that I've went through as a teacher development as a staff. Book Lemov 2 and 3, the difference that it makes, and then that's what underpinned our teacher learning strategy in the department last year before walkthroughs came by Book Lemov. Just everything that I said there. So number 1, ask a question and cold call. If you're doing this, great. If you're not doing it, then look at the past CPDs that we've done, because it's the most effective, inclusive strategy you can get in a class. You ask a question, everyone has a think for a few seconds, and then you go around the class. Okay, it makes everyone think rather than, if I just go, Sharon, what's the date today? As soon as I say that, I'll use like, thank God it's not me, tuned out. One last thing that makes that we learn as a department, it's not a pick on, it's not a, right, you're under fire, tell me, it's over to you. It's, Darren, what do you think? So it's a warm invitation to get them to say something, as opposed to, right, who am I picking on today? Right, you, that's just a few words to change that culture. Right, Darren, what was your thoughts? Brian, what was your thoughts? Invite them into the conversation. Explore don't know responses, so we probably all had a don't know response. There are many reasons why they might say, I don't know. Were they listening? Do they genuinely don't know? If they weren't listening, you can ask them to repeat the question. If they repeat the question back to you, then they weren't listening. There might be a knowledge problem. Have they just put up a defence, or have they tried to work it out? That's something you've got to think about. So one way of doing it, so this, I'll just share these and I'll go through them in a second. That's all. If 3 or 4 students don't know, that might be an issue. If you can, don't be afraid to give them the answer. Like, this is the answer. Be direct and instruct them. This is the answer. If you've taught them it and you're doing a wee bit of retrieval, then yes, you can maybe reteach it. Whatever. But don't give them the answer. You're the teacher. You're the one that stands up. Say, right, this is this. So they're just concrete about that. Techniques that I've used and I've read about and people have spoke about as well. Johnny Payne, when I'm a first year or second year in tapestry, answer if you did know. What I think, I don't know. What if you did know? What would you say? They're going to give you something. It's not going to be great. They might give you the start of it. Right, okay, great. Thank you, Caitlin. Right, can we build on this, Rebecca? Do you know what I mean? Build it around the room. Take the lowest part of the answer and build. Hazard a guess. All right, again, and build. Increase participation. So you ask a question. Right. Blah blah. Someone share. Iona. She gives me it. She goes, I don't know. Right. Okay, that's fine. Guys, in 30 seconds, what I want you to do is talk to the person next to you. Go. The room breaks in the conversation. Keep it short. Any longer, I'm talking about what's for lunch or Roll Wednesday. Right. Back we come. Okay, good. We go back to Iona. Try her again because she's probably listened to her partner and her partner's gave her something. Then it's either a good answer or a smart answer we can build from there. Alright, so as soon as you do that turn and talk or mini whiteboard, the participation ratio just goes up. Right, what to think about is what to learn. And then go back and check for understanding. So another way we can do it as well is you ask someone they really don't know. So what is it? The question, Thomas, I don't know. Right, or make sure you're listening and you ask someone else to answer. Kat, what's the answer? Kat gives it. Thomas, what did Kat say? You then repeat that. So you're still in the group, you're still learning. I don't know how effective it is, but they're still in the process of learning and not just being passive. They need to make sure you're listening to the person with the right answer. Alright? As I said, repeat a definition, re-explain a concept, instructions. Alright, so these are all strategies that we can use. Break you don't know defensive habit. Alright, so that's one thing. In order to break the habit, you need to have these tools ready to go. If you don't have them, you don't know what to do, deal with I don't know, then you're just going to accept it and move on. Especially if you're in your probation year or something, or lesson observation. So a kid asks, you don't know, you're like, oh no, I must mean I've not taught them it. It's not that. If you have this to tease out, right, you know something, what is it? It's all the answer around the room. Right, so this one's Michael, doesn't know. Teacher asks Sean, Sean gives an answer. Michael then responds to that answer. Don't opt out, it's quick, it's easy. Alright, as long as you have these things, this is what it is. These are the steps. Okay, that's the top of your stage. The next part is normalise error and uncertainty. Kids are going to get things wrong all the time. You've taught something well, have not picked it up and stuff like that. So what do we do? So we can embrace it, misconceptions, while explaining, embrace errors during questioning, emphasise uncertainty when metaphorical thought, and explore errors and testing feedback. You want the students to get things wrong, you want them to feel safe to get things wrong, we don't want to claim it as, oh no, I can't show that I don't know this, because if they hide it, they hide it, they hide it. The proof's got to be in the pudding when they do the test, and you don't know, and you've got a lot of work to do later on in the year when you could have found it out with a quick check for understanding. Aye, this one, before we go, I think showing the kids that you get it wrong sometimes. You you're not computer conventional, like do something and it's normally the brighter ones you go, sir, that's all right, or whatever. You can do that in your planning as well if you do modelling. Here's my model answer. How we read it that? Read it through and then is everything alright with that? And have the kids go, oh, that's great. And you're like, wait a minute. Right, what's wrong with that? So make mistakes in your thing on purpose or maybe by accident, don't mean it because correct it, but that's a good thing for me because they're thinking about what's a mark and what's not. Another thing that we come up for is the questioning. If a kid gives you an answer, how many times do you just finish the answer off for them? I'm bad for that as well. So give them a definition of something and they just give you the first 3 or 4 words and then you go, yes, and that's that, and you take over it. As soon as you take over it, that kid stopped. Could you just like pause for a second and go, right, keep going, keep going, keep going. You might get 75%. Right, do you tell me the last part? They're working together, they're forcing that change in their brain. Misconceptions while explaining. Use errors, misconceptions, teaching points, that's what I said. What mistakes is made. So last week, I put this answer up, narratives and conflicts. It's good when all these things marry together, but it was as part of making everyone think. You put up something that's wrong. So what is wrong with how people's response? Apply your answer, but you think, right, somebody last year wrote that. Let's see. Certificate level view, the kids understand what a mark looks like and what it doesn't look like. You hope when they sit in the test or whenever they do an assessment or exam, they're not going to do that answer that's wrong. So then you think about it, right, this is wrong, and then the next slide you show them the correct answer. Rather than just them passively sitting there, this is this answer, this is this answer. Make mistakes, change it up a wee bit, make them think. During questioning, someone makes a mistake, anticipate them making a mistake, which they will, but how do you deal with that is what makes the difference. That's not quite right. See what you've done there, let's have another think, or nearly, you're nearly there. And yes, a technique of that Cyrus that we learned, the teacher was doing like a recall thing with a suite, and basically the person who gave the last answer got the mark. So say it was like a describe for 4 marks, you'd give number 1, you'd give 2, 3, if you got the last one, you got the suite. So that's one thing you can think about if you want to do recall, but sometimes I heard this explained, oh that sounds great, but the kids didn't want to say the first sentence, so they have to find workarounds. But Ellie in 6th year was about to, had Skittles, and she was so close to getting an answer, she had 75% of her answer, and I was like, I can smell the rainbow, it was so close. She was so close to getting it, because I just let her do the full answer, and then she never got it, and I had to pass it on to someone else, so rather than me correcting it and just giving her the sweet, she was so close, but that would hopefully bring her back to do it again. She would, right, I need to get that. Right. How we read at that? So I think it's quite powerful. Like if we put like a 3-part paragraph or whatever to load it like this, so part 1, part 2, part 3. So rather than if you've got to use your OneNote or your board, whatever, you write as you talk what you're doing, but you can also do that if you have it pre-ready in a PowerPoint with animation. Right, there's number 1, this is my thinking behind it, number 2, and number 3. So the kids see the process, you doing it, this is you talk it through, this is your thinking, so when they go away and do it, they kind of use your process to try and get there. Explore errors and test feedback. So something that I've done differently this year with a higher assessment is, well, how many times have you done a test and then the next time they came in you just hand them the paper back with the results on it? Anyone done that? Sometimes? What you've got to think and what I've looked back on is you just give them test paper 18, 50, yes, look at that. Everyone in class is switched off for the rest of the lesson. It doesn't matter if our test was 16, 8, 16, they're sitting, shall do it, with the feet up. 1, I can't do this, what's the even point? Looking over this, and half marks, well, I've got half marks, so fine, why do I need to improve? So what I've done is basically marked on a test, just went through, tick, marked them a grade, sat them to the side, made a test paper with some full marks answers, half, 0, and but right, number 1, let's go through number 1, mark it. Right, who gave it 1 mark, 2 marks, 3 marks? Right, why did you get 1? Why did you get 2? Ah, right, understand. Here's the answer. So show them like you would do at Understanding Standards. Would the SQA tell you this is a mark, this is why a mark? So we go through, so take them through the full paper. Any questions that are weak, make them focus on that, like explain questions for us, and then go top each paper, strength and improvement. So as S&I, right, this question is strength and improvement. I go through, right, Brian, you now want you to tackle one question that you've never done well. I haven't seen the test yet. Brian, you do 1A, you do 1B, you do 1C, you do 1A, you do 1B, you do 3, 4. So they then try to make a gap in their learning already before they've got the test results back. So everyone improves. Once they improve, I go round, right, that looks good. Here's your test paper. Right, can you see why you got 0 in that mark? And so they've learned already before they even get that back. Yes, you get that back, it's important, a conversation and how they're doing, progress and stuff. But if you give them a test back at the start and go over it or show them a full mark test, I've never found a full mark test being effective because well, I done it last year and the kids were like, well, I can't get that, I can't reach that. So I think sometimes going through that process might actually learn, see what, show them a full mark, show them a 0 mark as well. And the next question are the same one, side by side, you compare them, I think that'll be a lot more powerful. So another way you could do it, rather than focus on full marks, find students for 7 out of 10. Like, right, what question did you get wrong? Right, why did you get it wrong? So go around, do it that way. Sorry, it's fine. We found the error, but I missed the email, so sorry.
Thanks.
Reward students for volunteering errors. Right, it's good that we've learned for that. So Jimmy said he doesn't understand that. Some of you else might understand that. Let's go through it again. Alright, so what I want you to do, this can be a written task, a discussion task, whatever that you like. Pick one, no opt-out, embracing error and uncertainty. Write a wee script you can use with the class next week when people reply, don't know, or they're not quite understanding a concept. That could be through explaining something, or questioning. What is a wee script that you could do? I'll find a script up that you can see. It's a script that you could do that means when you get faced with sort of a wee dilemma like this, how do you solve it? Right? So if you were sitting here at the start and you had no opt-out thing to use, I'd focus on that. If you feel like I'm pretty good at no opt-out, I can deal with that. Your next level up is embracing error and uncertainty. Thank you for giving your answer. It's not quite right, but this. So by a script, I mean it's going to be a script like that. Teacher question, ... Add in the ... in your planning, because that means that's your wait time. ... Question. Right, so question, ... People's name. What is other? People's response, don't know. How are you dealing with that? Are you bouncing it in the classroom? Are you digging deeper? Still an answer? Or are you looking at error and uncertainty? Excellent. As always, before you go and start working, this always happens. Not we use, but with the majority of our classes, folk are sitting looking at you. Right, everyone know what we're doing? Right, Kat, what's the task? What you doing?
So write a script for either the no opt-out or the other one, I can't remember the name.
Error and uncertainty. Right. What did I do wrong there?
You answered my, you took the question out of me.
Darren, you always pick me up for this. What did I do wrong there?
You answered the question before. Oh, I did get the wait time, just like.
Never get wait time and?
Here, it's been a long week, come on.
Say your name first.
No call.
Just making sure you're on your toes. See, I must be a long week for you if you
Aye.
bring me up for that. So that's good.
Keep me in my toes.
Like you said, it's been a long week. I'll tell you what I do, Mr. Eagle.
What do you do?
I
See if we
say-
do the same thing.
What do you think the answer to that question is? I don't know. I say, well, it's a good thing I didn't ask you what you know. What do you think?
Oh.
9 times out of 10 they'll go, all right, okay, fair enough.
How do you go where ask a question, you go, I don't know. Right, okay. Right, that's fine. I'll come back to you. Just make sure you pay attention to him well.
Keeping them in, just keeping them in the zone.
Aye. Right, such and such, I can get back to them after 3 or 4 black. Right, what's the answer now? And then we'll work it that way. Because then it's, I suppose it's a, when you say they're keeping them closed, you're going to get back to them. Is that right, yank now? Or would these? But I might use that as well. But I don't know. I didn't ask you.
Because then I say, but no, but what do you think? I don't know. I said, oh, but again, like I've just explained to you, like if you don't know, that's fine. But what do you think? And like, I'm really struggling. All right. So do you think it could be this or that? Like, give them a choice.
Alright.
The right answer and something that's close but no right.
Alright. And then why did you pick that one instead of that one?
Aye.
That's a good part. Good bit there.
If you're sitting the same troubles, it's good.
But
If you all be in the same bit, so like you have one big massive hole. Normally